Hi, I'm Geralt of Rivia, and I'm a Witcher. Wind's howling. Read this disclaimer before tearing my ass apart in the comments section. So first off, the combat isn't satisfying because there's no feedback telling you that your sword has made contact with an enemy. Actually, the feedback is there, but it's inconsistent. From the few hours I've played so far, the feedback feels best when you're fighting human enemies. But slicing non-human enemies feels almost no different from when you're just swinging your sword through the air like an idiot. And that's a problem. That's a big-ass problem. The Callisto Protocol and God of War do a fantastic job of making the combat feel satisfying because when you bash your baton or axe into one of these goons, there's auditory and visual feedback conveying that your weapon made contact with the body and tore through tendons, ligaments, meat, and bone, and what have you, rather than just slice through a piece of jello, which is how it usually feels in The Witcher 3. There's an absurd level of pop-in as well, and that's a problem. That's a big-ass problem, because it just makes the game's world feel, how do I articulate this? It just breaks the immersion. And I know that sounds cliche, but it's true. There was constant pop-in on the last-gen version, and I was really hoping they would have fixed that, but it's still a problem. It's a big-ass problem. It feels like you're streaming a procedurally generated world, rather than one that was intentionally designed. And at times, controlling the horse in this game is like you're trying to control a drunk, sleepy donkey. It simply doesn't do what you want it to do. It feels really unresponsive. The horse riding also doesn't feel nice and weighty as it does in some other games, like Red Dead Redemption 2, and that's a problem, but it's not a big-ass problem. Elden Ring and Ghost of Tsushima have some of the best horse controls because the horse simply does exactly what you want it to do. The controls are super responsive. I also always thought that showing the ugly horse stamina bar at the bottom of the screen was completely unnecessary because it drains so slowly and recovers so quickly that you don't ever need to look at it. But thankfully you can turn it off in the settings, so it's not a problem. Over the few hours I've played so far, I've noticed massive frame drops here and there during the general gameplay, but they also occur almost every time the game autosaves. And this is a problem and needs to be addressed, but it's not a big-ass problem, at least not unless the frame drops start occurring more frequently as I continue playing. It's frustrating because the developers have done such a great job making this gorgeous open world, beautiful art style, and fleshed out characters, only to have these little problems peppered throughout that really hinder the experience, at least for me. The game really needs a little more polish to really just gel everything together. Also, the game plays out like an instruction manual. It's like when you have auto-aim on, the game practically plays itself. This issue applies to most open world games, except for Arkham City, Elden Ring, and maybe Breath of the Wild. The map is constantly there telling you exactly what to do, where to go, how to get there. It highlights areas on the map instead of allowing for organic exploration and discovery. You can turn the map off, but then it's impossible to know what to do or where to go because the game wasn't built to be played without the minimap. I love it when games give little cues pointing out areas of interest. For example, in Arkham Knight, you'd be gliding around and hear opera music playing from a radio in the game's world. You'd follow the sound, which would lead to a crime scene and trigger the beginning of a side mission. The world would organically guide you and arouse your curiosity instead of just having these points of interest artificially placed on the map. There are also other problems I have with this game, but those have more to do with my specific taste in games, rather than a fault with this game itself. Like, for example, there's way too much dialogue through. The problem is that you have to sit through it. I love it when games have a lot of well-written dialogue, as long as it doesn't pause the gameplay. For example, games like The Last of Us and Arkham City have a lot of well-written dialogue, but you can continue playing while the characters are talking. Unlike in The Witcher 3, the whole game doesn't pause and take control away from you every time there's dialogue. But again, this is a me problem, and I feel like it's not really a problem with the game, because that's just the type of game that this is. I also don't like playing as these side characters, like Ciri for example. That applies to not just The Witcher 3, but almost all games. I don't want to play as Atreus, or Mary Jane, or Baby Nathan, or Baby Cal Kestis, or Baby Jin. I just want to play as the main guy, the badass. In some games, I don't mind, and it makes things interesting, like when you have to play as Ellie in The Last of Us, or Baby Bruce Wayne in Arkham Asylum, but I find it annoying in most other games because it really slows down the pace. And these side characters are just not as fun to play as the main guy, the badass. And you've also got wonky physics, bonehead NPC interactions, and lack of interactivity with the world. But I kind of feel like I might be holding this game to too high of a standard. Not every game can be at Red Dead 2's mind-boggling level of quality. There's nothing fundamentally wrong with this game. My goal with this video wasn't to shit on this game. These are genuine gripes that I have. I can understand why so many people love it. They can enjoy the fleshed out story, characters, and world while looking past all of its issues. But to me, it feels really unpolished. The gameplay is unsatisfying. The world doesn't feel very interactable. There are frequent long stretches of dialogue that pause the gameplay, and the game holds your hand too much.
Gods preserve you. Gods preserve you. Gods preserve you. Gods preserve you. Gods preserve you.
Gods bless you. Gods bless you. Gods bless you. Gods bless you.
Nice people around here. Apart from you idiots, that is.
What was that?
It's all good. Calm down. Just exactly how dumb are you?
If you got a problem, then you best spit it out. That's it! You're gonna
Come on
die.
now. Let's not get into stuff we're gonna regret.
God damn!
I'll be seeing you.
You folks around here actually do any work?
Hope that wasn't directed toward me, friend.
It's all right. Save your breath.
I really don't want to get involved.
Don't want you wearing yourself out now.
I'm just gonna get out of your hair, all right?
Let me take a look at you, tough guy.
I don't want to get involved with you, please.
Enjoy the show, fool.
Oh, good. Another gum flapper.
Hi, I'm Geralt of Rivia, and I'm a witcher, and I talk like this. Wind's howling. Ouch. Why did this crab bite my dick? I guess it's okay. Wind's howling.